Hello, parents and carers. My name is Mr. Cowie, and I'm the Deputy Head Teacher responsible for the curriculum. I'd like to welcome you to the 2022 presentation that will help clarify the support that is available to S3, S4 and S5 parents and carers as we prepare next year's timetable. It doesn't seem like 1 year ago that we were working from home and preparing to carry out the whole course choice process virtually. This year, I'm delighted to say that young people will be in school, so we can offer that reassuring face-to-face support when required. Indeed, a theme throughout this presentation is a reminder that your child's principal teacher of guidance is your first point of contact and will be on hand to support the whole process. I will try and keep the audio to a minimum and elaborate on a few of the main points once you've had a chance to pause and digest the information on each slide. I'm sure you'll find this useful in advance of the Parents' Evening and receiving the Google Course Choice forms in due course. So regarding aims of this presentation, I would think it's the timeline and the process that most parents and carers will be looking at. I'll say now that there will be a summary slide at the end of this presentation for each year group, and you can take time to pause and take a screenshot for your own records. So here we have a summary of our curriculum rationale. I would like to pick up on the part about being ready to review our practice. This session I've continued to work with principal teachers to look at the subjects offered and also with senior pupils to look at their approach to study and wider achievement. Most recently, some members of the Parent Council took time to feedback on the information that is required by parents. Now, making subject choices can be an exciting but an anxious time. We will work together to make sure we get the best fit for each learner. In Scotland, young people can be in school education from age 3 to 18. In the secondary school, there are two main parts. I confirm that S1 to S3 is what we call the Broad General Education, or the BGE, where young people develop a range of different skills. This is in preparation for S4 to S6, and it is in this senior phase where they take their national qualifications. This can be quite a busy schematic, detailing what pupils do in every year group. For the purposes of this audience, new S3 will do 8 subjects where they personalise within the curricular areas. New S4 will choose 7 national courses. New S5 will choose a minimum of 5 national courses with some wider achievement and study. And finally, at the top of the school, S6 will choose more than 4 national courses. There's more detail on that to follow later. I will leave this slide with you, but more information on how qualifications have changed. Personally, I just missed out on doing ill grades, but from there we've gone to standard grades, to intermediates, and now the National Qualifications Framework. The big difference is that National 4 learners get the opportunity to pass assessments in school, whereas there is normally an external exam for National 5 and above. At the time of recording, SQA exams are due to return after 2 years of cancellation. This slide confirms how learners can progress through the levels. While this looks straightforward, there is sometimes a big step up and challenge for pupils. A sensitive part of the options process is that robust dialogue about realistic targets when moving up a level. Not every pupil will be successful in all their courses and may first experience failure. Now that's life, and indeed many might not progress to their highest level until they go on to further education or perhaps on-the-job training. So how do we get started on this journey and make sure we pick the subjects that give us the best chance of progressing through the levels and on to greater things after Ellon Academy? Many teenagers will have little idea of future careers and may even end up doing jobs that don't exist yet. Here, I've listed the things to consider when planning your journey, but we know it's early days in the grand scheme of things, so best to keep your options open with a range of different subjects. Think of the pathways and opportunities available the following year. We have a course booklet with over 100 pages of different qualifications and levels. So what support lies ahead to make sure we make the most informed choices? I won't be offended if you pause me to take a closer look at your year group here. Regarding support for S3, we know COVID has really disrupted the normal flow of reports and parents' evenings. However, you will shortly be receiving a written report and virtual parents' evening with subjects teachers to help you make your decisions. PSE and learning conversations will be ongoing, and there will be a one-to-one guidance interview to finalise choices that will be submitted electronically by the 25th of February. Similarly, for S4 and S5, the same support is available from guidance teachers. You will also receive your interim grades and parents' evening before submitting your choices by the 14th of March. As we reach the top end of the school, learner conversations and realistic steer from subject teachers and faculty heads is crucial. For learners moving into S4, progress will determine whether you achieve at Nat 3, Nat 4 or Nat 5 level. You will choose the subject and work with your teacher to achieve the highest level for you. Science is one of the few subjects where you will know or be advised of the most appropriate starting level. Now, for learners moving into S5 and S6, the academic challenge is greater and arrangement of courses can be more complex. Some pupils may even wish to crash or pick up a new subject, and we should consider your previous achievements and skills. Here, principal teachers of guidance sometimes have a difficult job of matching the aspirations of pupils and parents with the professional judgment of subject specialists. Very soon, this form will be used to help seniors ascertain exactly where they are and what's realistic. Thereafter, they will prioritise what subjects are most important for them next year and then seek agreement from faculties. After discussing this with a focus group of parents and pupils, let me be clear at this point. Where possible, it will always be the school's intention to be aspirational and let pupils persevere at the highest level or pursue a crash subject. However, it can be stressful, demotivating and damaging to your other studies when a clear mistake has been made. Too many times it leads to problems later in the year, and from the off, progress must be monitored closely and parents kept informed. For this reason, parents should encourage pupils to speak honestly with their class teachers and guidance teachers now to get challenging but a realistic breadth of subjects. Now, for the vast majority, this process will go smoothly, but as we've just seen, others will have difficult decisions and compromises to make. There are lots of constraints when making a timetable, and when you include personal choice, clearly you can't do everything. All I can say is, thankfully, we all have many different skills and interests. Where there are problems, I can say that it's my pledge that we'll be open and honest and work together to find individual solutions. Now it's time for the detail and what choices do we get to make. First up is S3 into S4, where pupils will refine their 8 subjects and study 7 in more depth. All will continue with maths and English and almost all a modern language. During this process, pupils will prioritise their most important subjects and make a reserve choice. On the slide is an example of just how some subjects will be arranged into different columns. When pupils see the full course choice form, PTGs will support them to pick one subject from each of the 5 columns. Now, the deadline for parents and carers completing the Google form is the 25th of February. I must point out at this stage, it could be May before we talk about choices again, as I need to consider the data from all year groups, and I will, in the background, make tweaks and changes to ensure that almost all pupils get what they pick first time. For S4 into S5, pupils choosing to return to school might already have a good idea of what they want to do. Pupils who are planning to leave school might also wish to discuss putting in a backup form with their guidance teacher. Either way, new S5 will prioritise their 5 or 6 subjects and choose a reserve. On the slide is a snapshot of some of the subjects available in each of the columns. When pupils see the full course choice form, they select their subjects from each column. An important message is that pupils can only pick one college-based course, either a foundation apprenticeship or a skills for work course. To ensure the college course doesn't affect any of their other national courses, they choose college in both column B and column E. We have 6 very popular courses, and details of these will be on the Guidance Google Classroom. But of course, extra support will be given about making this decision and applying for the course. Pupils with 5 national courses will have the remaining column made up of wider achievement and study. This year, many are achieving a Saltire Award through volunteering in junior classes. We have added to wider achievement and complement the success of philosophy, mental health, and sports leaders, to name a few. For those with the biggest academic workload, Mrs. Murdoch is setting aside a senior study area for those 5 higher pupils in the library. On this slide, I confirm that selecting national courses takes priority over any wider achievement or study. Here we illustrate what some course choices could look like. The first is a real combination in red. One college course, and this is selected in B and E. We have 2 higher subjects and 2 national 5 subjects. The wider achievement is built into the college columns, and through work-related learning, there is the possibility of work experience. Secondly, in blue, we have a pupil choosing 5 hires. To reflect this workload, it might be that their column C wider achievement package consists of 1 period of volunteering and 4 study periods. Finally, on this slide and in green, we have a pupil doing 2 hires, 3 national 5s, and the very popular Mental Health Award and PE Classroom Help. There is also scope here for 3 study periods. We're almost there with S5 into S6. At the very top of the school, we can't underestimate how important our S6 are to the positive ethos of Ellon Academy. They are experienced soldiers when it comes to course choice, and some special privileges await our oldest students. That said, they are continuing in full-time education, and the requirement is to study more than 4 national courses. Again, to reflect the workload and challenge, advanced hires and foundation apprenticeships are weighted to 1.5 courses. In red, we have an example of a student choosing 2 hires and an advanced hire, and broaden their horizons by picking up National 5 accounts. In blue, we have 3 advanced hires with mental health and some timetabled classroom help. Finally here, we must reflect that current S6 missed out on many of the traditions due to COVID. It should be a special year, and we look forward to working closer with next year's S6 so they can leave their mark on the school. Here, I will gloss over a couple of slides to show that the Google Course Choice form replicates the paper exercise that we've already done. These will be released to parents through Glow and the PSE Google Classroom for security. Firstly, pupils will ignore columns and give me their free choice in priority order. This is really helpful in manipulating the number of classes I need to make everything work. Now this is last year's form, but they then move on to picking their subject from each column. And again, they will already have done this planning with their guidance teacher on paper. Finally, and to draw a line under the process, they can rate how the course choice process was for them, and leave me any comment which might help me with my troubleshooting. Now these are the very last few slides. The curriculum or timetable can be thought of as a pathway. As I've said before, there are many different ways to achieve your goals, and these are just some examples of ex-pupils. Clicking through this slide, we look at the full journey of Amy, who went on to study medicine. Stephen knew he wanted to go to college, and one feature here is the Skills for Work course helping to make that transition. And Jenna's journey is one that sometimes interests parents and carers who attended university in the past. Just like we are more flexible in schools, working closely with partners to offer different experiences, the same is true of colleges and universities, and there are many different ways to achieve a degree. Now that really is it from me, but I will leave you with some frequently asked questions and a summary slide for each year group. When you do sign off, I hope that this has been helpful and confirm that we will always be on hand to support all pupils with this process. Thanks again and all the very best.